Old girl, the ISIS fighter, took the time to explain to this 12-year-old girl about what he was about to do is not a sin for him. Because the preteen girl practiced a religion other than Islam, the Quran not only gave him the right to rape her, it condoned and encouraged it. This was in the New York Times. This should be the one thing that everybody is talking about, because God will not hold us guiltless on this. These are the Yazidis who a year ago we paid attention to for about 5 minutes, and they were like, well, you know what, I don't really know. Now a few of them have come out and are testifying because they have escaped, and they are telling us exactly what happened. This Islamic fighter was not the first of the day, nor the last of the day, that raped this 12-year-old girl. He bound her hands and gagged her. Then he knelt beside the bed and he knelt down in prayer before getting on top of her. When he was finished, he knelt down to pray again. The girl, who is so small, an adult male could take his hands and put them around her waist. She is that small. He told me, according to Islam, he was allowed to rape an unbeliever. He said that by raping me, he is drawing closer to God. Now, I want to ask you a question. That is in the Holy Book. That is in the Quran, and the Hadith backs it up. May I ask you a question? Anybody's holy book that says you can rape a girl to draw closer to God, is that a religion of peace? Is that a religion of God? Is Allah the same as God? No, it is not. Today, we release a book that is not controversial with those members of ISIS. This book will not become, they would read this book cover to cover and say, yep, because this is not my opinion. These are the words from the Quran and from the Hadith. Thomas Jefferson thought that every American should read the Quran. When we were at war with the Barbary pirates, he thought everybody should read the Quran. And many Americans did. It was actually a very popular book at the time. When I realized that, I realized we are a different nation. Because who do you know that has read the Quran? The Quran's for sale. Is it on the top 1,000 books in America? So what we did was we tried to make it digestible for the average person. Because unless you know what it says, you can't make the decision, and you will be played every step of the way. The politicians will tell you that this is not about Islam. I'm here to tell you that ISIS is the uber Islamic worshiper. They are the ones who believe it 100%. They're the ones who are checking with the imams and the clerics and saying, is it okay that I rape her? Yes, it is. It is about Islam. It was pointed out to me yesterday that on the title page, there's usually other names underneath mine, because I always give credit to those people who helped on the book. And we had really, really good researchers on this book. No one wanted their name on this book. Not that they disagreed with it. They just know what it means. So do I. And I believe this book needed to be printed because these things needed to be said, need to be said, need to be heard, need to be spoken out in the public sphere. I'm not doing a cartoon contest, and none of this is my opinion. I want you to know the facts. And quite honestly, I don't know if we continue to go down the road that we're going down, and that is just by dismissing the Islamic threat. We will not be able to publish a book like this. I don't know if you could publish this book in Canada. We are losing our First Amendment rights, and quite honestly, we're losing our mind. I made this book as cheap as I could. It is, 250 pages long. It's paperback. The last 50, 70 pages are all footnotes. So you don't have to take my word for it. And again, it is not an opinion book. But the stuff in here will take you all the way from what are they saying today? How can they possibly think they can get away with this? To what they believe the future is, to what their actual plans are for America, in their own words. I made this as cheap as I could because I think everybody in this audience should read it. Everybody in this audience should have this because this is the fight of the future. This is not going to go away. The only way this goes away is total defeat. We might be able to make this go away for 100 years. I don't think so. I think Europe is on the brink of extinction. The European and the Western way of life is on the verge of extinction. I've told you recently, I believe we all have to stand up and have our voices heard. We all have to stand up now and raise our hand and be counted. I want my children and my grandchildren to know their dad stood up against this evil. And that's what this is. When you can have women come to Washington and testify, come to the Iraqi parliament and testify and cry out, literally cry out, help us. One of the most disturbing things I've ever seen was last night on television. We played a Yazidi woman in the Iraqi parliament, and they were trying to shut her down, and she was begging. She said, please, I am calling out to all humans. This isn't a religious thing. This is a humanity issue. Please, don't you know what they're doing to our women? Please help us. And nobody's doing anything. Nobody is doing anything because we want to live in this comfortable little world, and I get it. What can I do? The first thing you can do is be brave enough to speak the truth, but to speak it without malice, to speak it without opinion, to speak it without hyperbole, just to speak the truth is an act of bravery in today's world. As we were going through and doing the research on this book, well, what are the best books on Muhammad? I don't know. There's not a lot of them. Why aren't there books on Muhammad? Do you know anybody who has influenced the world as much as Muhammad has? You can name them on one hand for centuries. And he was foretold. It's in the Bible that his seed, his children, his lineage will overturn the world. Why aren't there books about him? Because they'll kill you. I would ask, even if you read it at a library, I would ask that you would read this book. I'm not doing this for money. If I was doing it for shock value, I would have put a lot of things in there about Muhammad that I couldn't verify, but I think we're probably right. But I didn't put them in because I'm not doing this for shock value. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for truth. I'm doing this so somebody says it, and there's record of it. So if you have to wait until you get it in a library because you can't afford it, I understand. I'm just asking you to read it. I made it in paperback so you could carry it with you because I think there's a time you're going to need to argue these things. And I think that time, when we live in a time and a country where we can have Islamic murderers and people say that was just a workplace incident or a lone wolf, you're not going to get the truth from the media, and you're not going to get it from the establishment, either right or left. You're not going to get it from the George Bushes of the world, and you're not going to get it from the Barack Obamas of the world. Either side, they're not going to tell you. You need to know it yourself. This young 12-year-old girl was raped several times a day by many different men for 11 months. 11. You know how now we condemn the United States, or people try to condemn the United States, and I think rightfully so, for knowing what Auschwitz was, but failing to bomb the tracks, failing to disrupt that system of death. We condemn the United States. I do. Most people didn't know, but our president did. And he said we're here to win the war, not to save the Jews. He knew. That is a black mark on our history. We know that there are warehouses now, a network of warehouses, where victims are being held, they're put in viewing rooms, they're inspected, they're marketed, and they use a dedicated fleet of buses to transport them. We have a video that is one of the more shocking videos I've ever seen of the transactions taking place, of the actual bidding of a woman. Well, she has blue eyes. Okay, I'll give you 5 banknotes instead of 3. Modern day sexual slavery documented. We know where it's happening. We know who's doing it, but the world is silent. We condemn Muslims all the time. All the time. Where are the Muslims? Where are the Muslims? Where are they? If this is really their religion, where are they? Why won't they stand up? We condemn their religion because they're silent. May God help us. Does God ever ask, well, where are the Christians? They're slaughtering our sisters. They're enslaving them. They're crucifying their children. And while we're condemning Muslims they're silent, they don't stand up, where are we? Available in bookstores everywhere today, it is about Islam. My name's the only name on it.